Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to part 6, episode 6 of Not the 76 O'Clock News. And tonight it really is not the 76 O'Clock News. There has been no outrages over Fallout 76, at least not that I noticed. I haven't checked the news today, and as far as I'm concerned, if it happened today, it hasn't happened yet. I'm always at least a day or two behind the rest of the universe, which is really good, and that's the wrong... Why is my alert box doing that? Why is my alert box doing that? That's horrible. Stop it. It's going to be one of those days. It's going to be one of the... It's not a new thing. We were testing something. Oh, God, it's horrible. Diddling, diddling. Oh, we're already having technical difficulties. Okay, fixed. Brilliant. As I was saying, as far as I know, there's been no devastating news from Bethesda in the last day or so. And as I was saying, it's great to be about a day or so behind all the news, because if the world ever ends, I'm never going to know about it. Which is brilliant. Everyone else will be running around panicking, screaming, oh my God, we're all going to die. And I'll still be looking at 2 days before, totally oblivious to it. It's going to be brilliant, right? See, that's how you do it. Thank you for the new sub, Sharkman. Oh, and Tasty Punisher as well. However, don't worry. Are all the alert boxes ticked? Well, it's coming up. It's coming up. Let's. However, don't worry, because it does look like we've got plenty to outrage over. Yes, indeed. We've got tons and tons. Don't know. I saw the word Todd Howard in chat. I don't want to hear it. So that's right, this week, we've had outrage and drama over Cyberpunk. Not 100% sure why we've got outrage and drama over Cyberpunk. Still trying to figure it out. Was kind of hoping you guys had helped me. Because talk about a non-story. I mean, like 10 videos appeared on this subject in my timeline. Like more than that, just tons of them. CD Projekt Red, you were the chosen one. The thing is, apparently, at an earnings meeting or a call, the chief financial officer was asked about Cyberpunk multiplayer and what the monetization was going to be. And his exact quote was, as far as the monetization of multiplayer for Cyberpunk is concerned, we believe right now it's definitely too early to share any details on that or give guidance. The project is in a relatively early stage. We keep experimenting. That's our first multiplayer game. That's not technically true, actually. I'm editorializing now. Gwent was multiplayer. We check various options and possibilities, and it's definitely not the time to point you to a specific direction on that. Of course, you can expect we won't change our general policy towards deals with gamers, so I expect wise monetization and always value for money. And apparently, the internet lost its mind over that. Now, apparently, oh, Wolfclaw's saying apparently it was a mistranslation in the original. It was mistranslated to microtransactions. So there was some, but I've seen people going mental over the description of wise monetization. I've seen a few people talk about microtransactions, but I saw people freaking out about wise monetization and making comparisons between wise monetization and surprise mechanics. And honestly, Wolfclaw is now, you guys can't see this, Wolfclaw is busy breaking all of the rules. He's breaking all of the rules and needs to ban himself because Wolfclaw is spamming the chat with caps. I mean, we're talking uber caps everywhere. He's quite irate about this. He is quite irate about the fact that this story got outraged. He's right to be a little outraged. I'm more bemused by the whole thing because there were people sort of coming out and I was reading comments along the lines of, oh yeah, this is just like surprise mechanics. And then when people were saying, oh, well, we've got to give CD Projekt the benefit of the doubt. And I'm going, benefit of the doubt for what? For what? And it's, oh no, it always goes like this. There is like, what is going on? Wise monetization. What is wrong with them saying wise Let me restate that quote for you. Of course, you can expect we won't change our general policy towards deals with gamers, so I expect wise monetization and always value for money. How is that not a good thing? And I mean, so the original had some mention of microtransactions. Okay, how is that an outrage? I mean, their last multiplayer game had microtransactions. I'm not suggesting the new one should either. I mean, the problem is we don't know what Cyberpunk 2077 microtransactions multiplayer is going to be. So we don't know whether it's going to be a live service. We don't know whether it's going to be a one-off expansion to the main game. We don't know if it's going to be a co-op mode. We just don't know anything about it. So we've no idea, is this going to be DLC style monetization? Like they'll charge $20 for it or something like this, and then we can play the game together. Or will it be... Oh, the word was monetization, but it was mistranslated to MTX. But even if it was wise microtransactions, again, still not seeing the outrage. I understand people don't like microtransactions. I don't like microtransactions. This is going to be a multiplayer game. We don't know what sort of a multiplayer game it's going to be, but their last multiplayer game had microtransactions in it. Gwent had microtransactions. Nobody said diddly, as far as I know. Right? But I'm not even... I mean, if people just turned around and went, oh, I was really hoping it wasn't going to be microtransactions. I really wasn't... They've not even said what they're going to be doing. They really haven't... So we don't even know what this multiplayer thing is. So, yeah, I mean, co-op would be nice, but, you know... But here's the thing. All of the outrage I saw wasn't about the word microtransaction. All of the outrage I saw was from people actually using the term wise monetization and making a comparison between wise monetization and surprise mechanics. And I'm sorry, but I know it's popular to be jaded and skeptical, and I'm not even against healthy skepticism. But there's a difference between being skeptical and being on a hair trigger outrage, train. Because, look, if you want to say, oh, well, I am skeptical as to what they're going to do in Cyberpunk 2077 because it is going to be multiplayer, and multiplayer is always a little dangerous, isn't it? It is. Even Gwent had microtransactions. Could this be another live service microtransaction game? If so, I'm not sure I'm going to like it. I'm not sure, because that's my stance. If Cyberpunk 2077 gets a multiplayer version of the game or a multiplayer DLC, and it turns out it's sort of a live service survival game with hints of story but lots of microtransactions, I'm probably not going to like it. So being skeptical and saying, well, I hope it's not that, that's skepticism. That is skepticism. To point at someone who said wise monetization and value for money and scream, I knew it! Oh my God, they've been infected too. That's outrage. There is a difference between skepticism and outrage. There really is. Dr. S. Braun says it. Don't lose your SHIT over unknowns, but don't blindly trust it will be done right. Exactly. Don't trust that it's going to be done right. I mean, here's the thing. CD Projekt Red have probably earned a little bit of trust. Now, fair warning here, fair warning, I am a GOG shill. An actual paid shill for GOG, right? And GOG and CD Projekt Red are really inseparable in this regards. I actually earn money because I'm a business partner. Now, it's not a huge amount of money. It is, I think you don't start getting money from them until you've earned over $100 in commission. And it's like a small percentage for everyone who buys a game through the GOG link that actually commonly gets popped up by Wolf's Claw. And once it gets over 100, you can claim a payout. I think I can claim a payout now, but I've never done so. And I've been with them for a couple of years now, I think. It's not a huge amount of money. That's probably because I am, quite frankly, probably the worst shill that has ever existed. Wolfclaw is way better at shilling for me and for them than I am. So that's just, you know, there are Bethesda games on GOG. Probably. So I am. So I have a business interest and on an obvious bias, and I love CD Projekt Red, and I've met several of the developers and, you know, the CEO and, well, quite a lot of people who work there. I like them. I broke bread with them. You form a bond with people. I find it very difficult to be biased, but I think I'm on safe ground to say they've earned a little bit of trust when it comes to monetization, but still you should be skeptical, especially on a multiplayer version of the game. But that's different to hearing someone announce something that is good and immediately assuming it's the cover story for something evil. And this is true even if it was EA or Bethesda. If Bethesda came out and said, we're announcing that Starfield will not have a creation club, it's reasonable to be very skeptical, to say, yeah, I'll believe that when I see it. Or to say, wait, when you're saying it's not having a creation club, do you mean it won't have any microtransactions? Or are you saying the microtransactions will not be called the creation club? That's skepticism. If Bethesda came out and said, Starfield will not have the creation club, and you guys went out and said, oh my god, this is code for they are reanimating Hitler's corpse, or something, right? I mean, it's not. There's a difference between not necessarily believing them and assuming what they're saying is a code word for, you know, destroying the planet or something. There is a difference, and that seems to be what has happened here. People have taken what they've said, which is a good thing, and just said, oh, this must obvious, because that's when you compare something to Surprise Mechanics, that's what you're doing. Surprise Mechanics was EA, I think it was, their way of saying, no, it's not gambling, it's Surprise Mechanics. They've taken one thing and they're trying to market it as another. CD Projekt Red have not done that. They've literally said, we don't know what the model's going to be. Second thing, this is important. This was on an earnings call. The chief financial officer on an earnings call. Who was that? Merchandise. Somebody has just bought one of the t-shirts and won't be telling us. This was an earnings call. Chief financial officer. I'm assuming he's talking to people who are interested in the finances, in the money, in who is earning money. Oh, thank you, JTG. Dows Shotgun. Bought 3 t-shirts. So they're talking to the very people who want to make tons of money from these games. And they are saying, this person is saying to them, we won't change our general policy towards deals with gamers, so I expect wise monetization and always value for money. it almost sounds more like what they are saying to investors is, we will monetize it, but we're not going to be going nuts. Isn't this kind of what we want to hear chief financial officers saying on earning meetings? Look, we know we want to monetize our games. We know we want to earn our paychecks, but we want to be wise about this. And CD Projekt Red are on record as feeling like treating their customer with respect and presenting value for money is the wise way to make money. And when they say this in an earnings meeting, it's almost like they're actually saying to the people going, where's the money, where's the money? That they're going, yeah, look, we will earn money, but we're going to earn money by coming up with a monetization scheme that doesn't annoy our customers, that does not squander the goodwill we have built up over years. That's how I read his comment. Which is why you can imagine my bewilderment that this was even a story. And again, if you want to turn around and say, yeah, but these people want to make money, they'll start to get more and more control and they might start pushing it so it's no longer wise monetization. That's all right. That's skepticism. That's skepticism. But we shouldn't be outraged at the person who's actually talking to those people and saying, yeah, we should be wise. We should be cheering. If we found out tomorrow that Todd Howard or Pete Hines were in the financial meeting saying, look, guys, we don't want microtransactions, we should cheer that. We shouldn't say, okay, he said we don't want microtransactions, therefore, what he obviously means, and then go into some weird conspiracy theory. I'm not saying they do say that. And what I'm saying is if we found out that they were actually saying something good and saying to their own shareholders, let's be consumer friendly, let's give value for money, let's not annoy our customers, that's a good thing, even if we don't believe them. Even if we are skeptical as to the truth of the claim, we should be happier with, well, you know what I mean. I'm not saying we should be happy that we've been lied to if it turns out it's a lie. What I'm saying is we should wait until we find out it's a lie before we hit outrage. Skepticism, then when you get confirmation, outrage. That's the order I would go, okay? Does that make sense? So we're all agreeing this has been a total misunderstanding. There is no drama. CD Projekt Red at the moment have done nothing wrong. Gopher's a paid shill. We're all going to wait and see what Cyberpunk 2077 is like, and then when they finally unveil the multiplayer, we will see how they monetize it, and then we will act accordingly and in an appropriate manner with regards the new information, the factual information, as it arrives, yes? We shall be sensible. All in favour, type I. Thank you for the resub, Enigma. You know, if I'd been a good shill, I would have said, all in favour, go to this GOG link and buy. And then insert game here. Told you, terrible shill. Absolutely terrible shill. Okay, well, luckily we've got the game news out of the way this time, so let's move on to mod news. Have you guys seen a teaser trailer for a mod called Fourville? Have you guys seen Fourville? I don't know whether I'm even supposed to do this. You saw me retweet it. I don't know if I'm supposed to do this, so I'm going to leave it minimized. I'm going to leave it minimized so I'm not breaking too many rules. I'm hoping the guys who made this don't mind me showing this.
All right, that's close enough. Who the hell are you? What are you doing here? I know it might look like it, but this isn't some junk town you can strip for parts. There are places where you can do some trading. We don't tolerate any trouble.
But I'm a fellow vault dweller. Can't you just let me in?
I think you got the wrong idea about this place, bub. We're not vault dwellers. Vault 4 has never opened.
Fourville was founded when a man named George Willis decided to set up camp outside Vault 4 and wait for it to open. That was over 200 years ago, and since then, the town has changed a lot. It's the work of every generation which came before us.
The misguided belief that it will open one day has been holding this town back.
Until he opens again.
I love the idea of this. I really do. I like the idea of this. You know, I don't know, it seemed like, yes, some pretty solid voice acting, and I like the idea. Very interesting concept. It is actually amazing when you see some of these mods coming out, how engaging some of them look, how good the concepts are. And I'm going to say it. Oh, lots more merch. Thank you. Shout out my dad for dropping a couple of mugs, making room in the cupboard. Thanks. So yeah, I mean, when you see these mods and you think, honestly, these concepts seem better than a lot of the stuff in the base game. And there are loads of them now. There are loads of them. And I'm not saying that to throw shade on Bethesda, even though I'm on the record as being a little less impressed with Fallout 4 than their previous offerings. And I think most people are probably okay with me saying that. I feel now the difference between the stuff being offered by the mod makers and the stuff that they offer, it's night and day now. The modding community was catching up to Bethesda's quality back in the New Vegas days, and they started to really ramp it up. You know, if you remember things like Falscarf or Skyrim, it really did begin to look like there were some really good storytellers out there. And then, of course, we got Beyond Skyrim and Enderall and things like that, and they really have just sort of taken it to whole new levels. But the stuff I'm seeing for Fallout 4, in spite of my reservations about how replayable Fallout 4 is, the stuff I'm seeing people make is just amazing. Have I seen Skyblivion? Yeah, I've seen Skyblivion. I am so hoping they get that out soon. But yeah, I mean, I honestly think once I have finished my Fallout 4 VR playthrough, at some point, I'm probably going to want to plan my fourth and final, my final Let's Play of Fallout 4, which will be a Minutemen ending, because I've not done that one yet, but with loads and loads of mods, like just tons and tons of these content mods, and just really like change the game beyond recognition even. So, because there are loads of them. There are loads of them that just really add so much depth. Obviously, I've been trying Sim Settlement in Fallout VR, and I will do a few more tours of the settlements in VR. I will do just that. I may actually try taking the save over to the normal Pancake game when I do the tour, so that it's a little easier to watch, and I can refresh all the sites in like with maximum clutter to do them justice. But I've been very impressed with Sim Settlements. The settlements now feel, well, sometimes more alive than half the places you find in the game. So, yeah. We're all having a go at Bethesda, I see. You'd like to see AI release their own stuff. I tell you what I would love to see, seeing as we're still in modding, God, I would love to see this. I don't think it's going to happen. I would like to see Enderall get released for Special Edition and be VR compatible. I mean, maybe it's already done for... has it been released for Special Edition? I don't think it's VR compatible. The last time I checked, there were some issues with VR. I would adore I would adore to do a proper Skyrim VR playthrough, but like I would want something so totally different. And if I could get Enderall on special edition and do VR, to be able to just... I'd obviously be doing a caster run, probably. I mean, I did that last time, but it's much easier. Caster or Bowman, I suppose. Bowman, possible. But yeah. Is F4SE or SKSE VR compatible yet? Doesn't SKSE have a VR? I don't know, actually, but this is it. There's all sorts of problems making it over, which is such a massive shame. Although the other thing, another thing I wouldn't mind doing, getting an alpha version of Morrowind and getting it over onto special edition and VR, and just forget playing it. Just go visit some places in VR, in Morrowind, in Skywind. Sorry, get Skywind installed, alpha version, and do a tour in VR. Vivek. Levitate spell might be a bit of a problem, but there you go. Yeah. Do a VR tour of the original Morrowind. Would that even work? I don't know. I'm not totally sure. Okay, Legacy of the Dragonborn has a rough release for version 5. Right, now, the Legacy of Dragonborn version 5 is going to require a huge amount of work for me to get it working. I mean, basically, they do not support upgrading from version 3 to version 4 or indeed version 5. But if I wish to play Odyssey of the Dragonborn, which I do, you need to have the new version of Legacy of the Dragonborn installed, I believe. So if I want to try that out, and I'm pretty sure I do, with Leonard, then I'm going to need to convert the Leonard save from version 3 to version 5. Now, they do not support that, and it is not possible through the simple process of just upgrading. But there is a possible way of doing it. It's not the safest way, and therefore I would probably be waiting until I had done at least a few more chapters. Basically, I'd be waiting until I'd got most of the vanilla content out of the way, and then was looking for things like maybe Beyond Skyrim and stuff like that. The point at which leaving, if I mess something up so bad that Solitude becomes a bit problematic, it won't bother me too much. So if I'm spending all my time in Bruma and places like that, it will be less of an issue. But it's not something I'm going to do any time soon. I will be waiting until I've got at least most of the vanilla content done. And I certainly will not be doing it unless I feel it's stable. But if it turns out after playing for 6 months after I've done this, there's a few instabilities, I'll work around them in the play. I'm thinking if there were to be any instabilities, it would be in the area of Solitude. That's what I'm thinking. There could be other things. There are possibilities that something that drastic can have a bad effect. But the process of me upgrading is going to be absolutely monumental. To give you an idea of what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go in and essentially screenshot or write down every single thing I have that's from the legacy of the Dragonborn mod. Every single item I'm going to have to screenshot it from the list. Luckily, they do have very, very useful lists. I will have to take all of that information and store it. I will need to mark down where I am in all the quests. Now, my current plan is to not even think about doing it until I have done every single solitary quest, so that if I break a quest, it won't be a problem. The only real reason I want to upgrade to V5 is so that everything is ready for Odyssey of the Dragonborn. Also, I would like to see the new museum as well. So I would be taking a list of everything that was there. I would then empty the place. I would do something like TGM, so I've got unlimited carry weight, and I would empty everything from the safe house, everything from the museum, just everything. I'd take absolutely everything down. I'd march it across to Breezeholm or something like that, or maybe not even Breezeholm. I might do it in like one of the local barrels or something. I'd figure some way, and I would just dump everything into a container, like absolutely everything. So I've got all of the things, like all of the raw materials, the stuff like that, the stuff that you don't want to lose. Then, once I'd done that, once I'd got everything stored and the place cleaned, I would save the game. I would then uninstall the mod, reload the game, and basically see what happens. So now the mod has been totally and utterly removed. I would basically be running around checking all of the NPCs, seeing if there was anything missing. I'd probably spend 4 or 5 hours just running around Solitude testing stuff. And then another 4 or 5 hours going to all of the places that Legacy adds and checking to see what's been left behind there. So there are all sorts of buildings and sites and things like that. I need to go and make sure none of them have caused problems. Like I did with Steve, because the Steve that one crashed with all those locations missing. I have to check to see if I can run over every single location that I discovered and not get a crash. That is going to take a long time. Once I've done that, I save the game. I then load up like script cleaners and things like that, and maybe try and find things that could be deleted and I want to get removed. There are several programs that help you clean your save and get rid of certain things. And then, after once again running around, testing everything for another, 10 hours, make sure I haven't done anything else to break it, because cleaning your save and removing scripts can cause problems as well. Then, I would install version 5 of Legacy. But it would be as though I just installed it afresh. I would then do all of the quests again. I could console them, but I wouldn't. Because sometimes when you do certain stages of the quest, certain things happen. And you get other things, and it triggers other things, and it's not always easy to know what's getting done. I would use console commands to cheese my way through all of the quests. So I'd just start the quest, and then I would CC to the location, pick up the item, come back, give it to Orion, and rinse and repeat, and do every single one of the quests ASAP, off stream, and that could take a week. I don't know how long that could take, actually. I mean, that could take a long, long time. All of the items that I'd got, that I'd found, I would go and visit the dungeons where I found them, pick them up. I would take all of the items I had and pick them up. I'd get every single thing, and then I'd put it in the museum, and I would go through all of the lists that I'd written and see what I was missing and go and get the items if I needed to get them. Some of them I might need to spawn, because some of them drop when you kill certain people, and I would have already killed them. Those items might be on those bodies, but those bodies might be gone. So it would be a massive endeavor. I think it would be like a massive period of time. I'm going to be doing this for weeks, just going through it and seeing if I can transfer over. And then at the end of that, once I've got absolutely every single quest done, everything unlocked, everything I did with Leonard, granted speed run with lots of God mode commands and lots of teleporting and tons of fast travel, once I got all that done, I would then do another tour of Skyrim, going to absolutely every place just to try and see if I'd broken anything. That is going to be a monumental task. It would also be potentially dangerous. I could break certain areas. Now, if I do break anything major, I would simply abandon the project and revert back to an original save of Leonard, and then just continue on without playing Odyssey of the Dragonborn. It's a shame. I would hate to miss that, but if I have to, I have to. If I think I've got it working, I will then go and do Odyssey of the Dragonborn. But as I've said, I wouldn't even risk doing that until I have finished pretty much all of the vanilla content, to the point where there's just nothing left in Skyrim. And I've done everything that's on Solstheim. And I've done, basically, I've done everything the vanilla game has to offer. And I'm at that point where I'm thinking of installing Beyond Skyrim and other mods that have their own world spaces. Because the big danger is probably world spaces. So that would be it. So I would say I wouldn't even dream of doing that until probably, let's have a look, chapter 6, chapter 7, chapter 8. There would be at least 3 more chapters before I would even dream of doing that. But there's no guarantee I would even do that, because I probably need a 9th chapter just to finish all the Legacy of the Dragonborn museum stuff. I reckon that I wouldn't be doing that until I probably got to something in the region of chapter 10 with Leonard, and then felt like, okay, if I break certain places of Tamriel, I'll live. The problem with the Steve playthrough was there was an entire area near Falkreath which I couldn't go near, and unfortunately there were a few things there that needed to be done, so it was like really problematic. Would you make a new MO profile, copy the work on, leave the original attacked? No. I'll do it on Vortex. I'll just use profiles on Vortex, but yeah, I will basically do profiles. I keep profiles from every single chapter. Every single solitary chapter, I make a copy of the profile. And I keep it on hand just in case I do need to roll back. And I only start deleting the mods for that profile once I'm like halfway through the next chapter and I'm confident that nothing horrible has gone wrong. So I do keep backups so that, let's say I get 8 or 9 episodes into a chapter and realise, oh wow, this is not working, this is broken. I can actually roll back and restart that chapter with the old mod list. So yeah. So that would be a monumental modding task. I might even live stream some of it for the lols. And yes, that would be definitely something I would not recommend at home. That is, that when they say, we do not recommend upgrading, they're saying don't do it. I mean, that is it. There is no guarantee it would work. It could be a waste of a couple of weeks. And even if it does work, there may be some issues way down the line if I do another, let's say I install another mod that does require I play in Skyrim, and it turns out there is a minor issue there. I may end up having to use console commands to get around issues, which is something I can do. It is something I can do. Disposable Dwarf says, keep in mind this is the same Gopher that tells you to read the manual and then skips it himself. Absolutely. But my rule is read the manual before you ask any questions. Yeah, that's the general, advice I give you. Don't ignore the manual, then break everything, and then go screaming to the mod author. If I do this and I completely garbage up my load order, I will not be going to Ice Cream Assassin and going, oi! Your mod broke my game. I might go along to him and say, oh, any idea? But that would just be me abusing my position. I only read your messages when I'm sarcastic or snarky. And? Okay, right, we got 10 minutes left, just a little over. Let's talk YouTube stuff. Few things to talk about. Obviously, at the moment, the only thing appearing on my Let's Play is the Outer Worlds. And there are 2 things I want to talk about with regards to the Outer Worlds. The first one is the timetable, and the second one is the issue of eye strain. In fact, you know what? I'm going to start with the issue of the eye strain first of all. I've still not managed to fix it completely. Yesterday I did 2 hours of recording and then was out for the evening. I pushed too much. The maximum I've managed to play that game without having problems is an hour and a half. If I push it much beyond there, I tend to have like issues. It was compounded by the fact that I did go outside straight after I finished recording, and I was in a bit of a rush to pick the kids up, and I went out without a hat, and it was bloody freezing, and due to various things I've done over my life, I do have a tendency to suffer small sinus problems. I ruptured my sinuses. Well, I never ruptured them. I had a major problem with my sinuses caused by rapid pressure shifts, shall we say, whilst having a cold. And I went out in the cold straight after playing, and it really started to hurt a lot. And when I got home, massive pain in the eyes. I'm still having those problems with this game. An hour is okay. An hour and a half is maybe pushing it. 2 hours seems to be too much. To give you some comparison, I can now play VR for 4 hours and not feel much. So, yeah. And the thing is with the Outer Worlds, I've turned off chromatic aberration, I've turned off bloom, I've turned off everything. I've turned the screen effects down to low. And it helps. Everything I've done helps, makes it more bearable, but playing the game even for 5 minutes tires me. It makes my brain feel a little mushy. It's difficult to describe. But it is playable. It is playable for me. It's kind of like playing Senua's Sacrifice, though. Not as bad as Senua's Sacrifice. Almost missed it. I hope I delivered before Christmas. Yes, I stole your sweet roll and the Foos snowball. So yeah, it's been an issue. However, what I'm trying now, I've taken the opportunity to change my system over. So I'm now running a 120 hertz refresh rate on my gaming monitor. I can do that with the new recording equipment I got a while ago, but I've not been doing it because I was reluctant to, risk a new setup when doing recordings. But this has become such a problem for me, I'm willing to risk it this time. And I played only about 20 minutes today. It seems okay. I'm pretty sure it's not got any major problems. And by problems, I mean screen tearing. One of the things I was worried about was if I play at 120 but record at 60 on a capture card, could there be some screen tearing? Well, I did a bit of testing and I just went through the test footage literally 1 frame at a time. Just 1 frame at a time for about 8 minutes looking for a single frame that had any tearing, couldn't find one. Pretty sure it doesn't actually record the screen tearing. I'd be curious as to how the capture card is. I'm really curious as to how the VSync is working when it does a pass through through a capture card and onto your monitor, but whatever, it seems to work. It is more pleasant for me. My eyes immediately felt better playing at 120 frames a second than 60. It's very difficult to explain to people who've never tried 120 frames per second gaming. My eyes almost sighed. It was very different. But as soon as I go into any areas with lots of people, I was getting, shall we say, less than acceptable levels of stuttering. The frame rate would drop down to sort of 80. But even with triple buffering, which is supposed to, help deal with that sort of thing, it still felt a little stuttery. But the game occasionally feels stuttery even when I'm on 60 hertz as well. I don't notice it as much because when the game gets like that, I'm normally focusing on the dot at the center of the screen and trying not to look at the images. That should tell you something about how I have to play the Outer Worlds. I have to actually really concentrate at times in certain places to just not get my eyes to start freaking out. When I'm playing at 120 frames a second, it does seem to be better until those stutters appear. I think those stutters were always there, but they they are more noticeable because, of course, there's a sudden difference. I've got lovely, smooth, pleasant movement, and the next minute I've got this real feeling of looking at something that's 30 frames a second. Weirdest thing, the graphics card never goes over 75%, and the CPU, not one core has gone over about 40% or 50% in my testing. What is it? Don't know. Badly optimized game, I'm going to guess, on that respect. The RAM never went over 10 gig, and I got 32 gig. The VRAM never went over 4 gig, and I believe the 1080 Ti's got, is it 6 or is it 11? It's a lot. So, yeah. Don't know what it is, but all I can say is I'm still having issues with that game, so I am trying to get on top of it. The second thing I want to talk about with The Outer Worlds is the fact that it's the only game on my channel. Right, that is bothering me. I've checked the analytics. I was worried that the views were going down a little bit, and they do seem to go down. I have a feeling Skyrim is more popular, but it didn't go down too much, and it settled pretty quick. So 4 videos a week doesn't seem to be negatively affecting me. I think the fact that it's not Skyrim affects me slightly, but not much. However, I hate the fact that I'm avoiding the videos in the comment section until I finish the game. I don't know how far I'm into the game. I'm probably about 35 episodes now. I'm not going to be finished for a while because I can't bulk play this. If this was another game, I could maybe do 12 episodes a week, just really cram through the playing and then do all the editing later on. Something like that, you know, just play and do all the editing later on. But I can't do that with this game. And so it could be, I don't know how long it's going to take me, but it could be a while. And I'm hating this. I'm hating it. I hate it. Hate it. And I think it's driving Quarico nuts. So I think I'm going back to 5 videos a week. I think I'm going back to 3 episodes of The Outer Worlds, or whatever the new game is, and then 2 episodes a week of Skyrim. And I may try to make it so that Skyrim just stays like that. I mean, with very small breaks or something. I don't know. But like 2 episodes of Skyrim a week, something like that. So chapter 6 could start sooner than we thought. The only problem is I do not have a prelude made yet. I've had an idea for a prelude. I had a weird idea in the weird hours of the morning, but I have to execute it now. I have to record it, and I've not been able to do that yet. So I don't know when I will go back to that timetable. So that could be another week before I get the prelude done, and then the week after I start. I've got like 18 episodes of Skyrim. I've actually got 16 episodes of Skyrim, and I'm not going to go into too many details. I've got 18 videos for the next chapter done. So, but yeah, that would allow me 2 videos a week to engage with you guys and feel connected. Because I do miss it. I never thought about that. I never thought about that when I went to only playing one game. But if I'm going to be playing games where I'm playing blind and I have to avoid the comment section, it depends on the game. Some games, it's just a matter of play a few weeks ahead to avoid close spoilers. Quarico has told me to avoid this game completely until I've actually finished it. So I'm guessing that means there's been a fair number of spoilers. But you know, I'm going to bow to her wisdom on this, but therefore I'm going to be releasing Skyrim so I can say hi. But that's so there you go. So that the new timetable is going to be 5 episodes, like it was a few weeks ago, but it will be the opposite. Instead of 2 episodes of Outer Worlds and 3 episodes of Skyrim, it will be 3 Outer Worlds and 2 of Skyrim. So Skyrim will be making a return. You'll be getting 2 episodes a week for a few months probably. The new Jedi game is quick, no role-playing potential in it. That would be a good filler game. I don't need filler games. I need games I can throw overboard. Don't need filler games. We got way too much ballast on this ship. I need to throw them out, I'm afraid. When will this be starting? Still need to catch up. What, when will the stream be starting, or when will Skyrim be starting? What happened to the Diablo Let's Play? There will be no Diablo Let's Play. I played one episode of Diablo. It was okay. It's fun. It's not a Let's Play game. It is definitely not a Let's Play game. Possible Let's Play games at the moment include Red Dead Redemption 2 if they fix the problems they're having with PC. Plague Tale. I got a copy of Plague Tale. That is a possibility. A Plague Tale. That is a very me-looking game. What else was there? There was obviously Cyberpunk when it comes out. That's Bloodlines 2, definitely. Bloodlines 2 is definitely going to be a thing. I know a lot of people want Call of Pripyat, and I've never ruled it out, the same way as I've not ruled out Mass Effect. But again, look at the list of games we've got. Look at the list of games we've already got. So I would not hold your breath, because I've just got too many other things to play. Star Wars will not be making an appearance. The new Fallen Order, whatever it is, that could be a stream game. That could be a stream game, but certainly not a Let's Play. Have I ever played Fear? Yes, all of them. Not really a good Let's Play either. I really do feel like for Let's Plays, I should stick to story-driven role-playing games where possible. The occasional horror game, maybe, and the occasional story-driven, not role-playing game. Like Plague Tale is story-driven. But even things like what was it called? The Evil Within, which looks like a very cool horror game. That does not look like a good Let's Play game. Way too survival oriented. So it's going to be games where I feel there's a lot of potential for me to immerse myself and get into the story. Blair Witch could also be a good game, but you know, we've got so many of them. We have got so many of them. And of course, remember, I'm going to be keeping Skyrim going throughout this whole time. So that's another one on the list. If Skyblivion comes out, that will be an instantaneous playthrough. That will be an instantaneous playthrough. Skyblivion or Skywind, either of those drop, they will be immediate Let's Plays, and they will probably go alongside Leonard as long as Leonard happens. I don't know how I would do Let's Plays of Skyblivion or Skywind, whether I would try and do multiple playthroughs with different characters the way I've done with Skyrim, or whether I would try to find some character where I could do a lot more of the content, so I could just do one super long Let's Play. Because of course I haven't played Oblivion for ages. I'd love to replay it. Chances are I'll only do one Let's Play though, and you know, it would be nice to have a lot of content. So I don't really know. I really do not know. So anyway, thank you for joining me for this week's podcast. Thank you for Wolfclaw for supplying all the actual ranting this week, which was saving me a little time and effort. Thank you for everyone who bought merchandise, all the people making cheers, rejoining, resubscribing, sorry, and so on. Thank you very much. I want to end on time again so Quorico does not shout at me. So good night, and I will see you guys next time.